Well, I guess today we'll see if it the vacuum line fixed. Or we fixed that or not. But today we're throwing this back together, and like I say, it's just the battery and then the air box that way. So we got, I think, everything thrown back together. I'm gonna light that up. We got the battery hooked up, and I think everything with that is done. Got that hooked up, left the rock lights undone, but I mean, this is where they connect into, so there shouldn't be any issues there. Just those little bunt connectors, and then it's just open wire, but it doesn't really matter. Power steering, fluid, airbox back together, lines hooked up. So far, don't see any leaks, so probably means good. We'll see once I get it back here. And like I said, I got to drive it around to do the next part of what I'm gonna do, and hopefully that goes well. And then we might do some other knick-knack things, but we'll see. Just driving the Jeep around to get the motor hot. For this next thing, you want the engine to be hot. So if you can see, when the XJs, they have your, hold on. Boom. They have your oil filter and then that hard 90 right there. So Jeep did that because they didn't have enough space between the block of the motor and the frame to be able to put an oil filter right off the block. Good idea. However, it starts to leak after so long. So the way to fix that is these right here. Well, only the one. You just need this big one. Here's that big one right there. I'll leave a link to this in the description if you have the same issue. But so all you gotta do is get the motor hot. So drive it around, you know, let it idle in your garage for a little bit or however. And then you take your oil filter off. It shouldn't drop too much oil, and you don't need to drain your oil. In theory, we'll see how it happens. I would disconnect your starter or your battery so that you don't ground out your starter, because done that one time. And then you're gonna need a T60. So where's my T60 here? You need a T60 here, and then you want to take the head or the bit out of the socket, right? Like, yeah, you want to do that, and I mean, you just heat it up with the blowtorch, and then you put it on like I did a vise, and then I just hammer on it for a little bit, and then you get this, and a T60 is the size you need. So the easiest way to tell if you have it, the issue I'm having with that oil filter leak, you see how there's that on the bottom, there's that little drip of oil right there, right there, and that one right there. That's the easiest way to tell. Now you can see where I'm talking about the hard 90, right? Oh god, right up there, that way, right here is that hard 90, and the oil or that gasket. The O-ring right there is in there, and you can see it's leaking. So right now I'm just gonna take the oil filter off. So this is the piece you're trying to get out. When it sits in there, there's some gunk in there, right there, yeah. But so it sits. It sits like this. Right down there, this, and that gasket or that O-ring, you can see where it goes in right there. It's just like that, and you can see the screw now. It doesn't come out. I guess it just turns that. But I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and then get the O-ring installed. All right, got the part. I mean, got it mostly clean. It's not perfect, but I focused a little bit in here too, just for that O-ring, so it sits in there a little bit more flush, doesn't have doesn't have oil or something built up in there, causing that to make it not seat. But now that we got that, and like I say, it sits in like this, so this is where your oil filter sits, and this is towards the block. But now we got this cleaned up, we need to go back down there where the part is, and let me see making a mess right down in here and rip that right there. Rip that O-ring right out, that old one, make sure that's out, and then put the new one in, and then go from, and then it's just going back to assembling everything, putting that screw back in there. It's gonna be a pain in the ass, but putting it back in there, putting your oil filter back in there, or putting a new one back in there, and then check your oil after. In my case, I had a little bit drip, wasn't too much, but it was enough that I'm gonna put some back in there, probably just a little bit. But there's that O-ring. You can just tell it's rock hard at this point compared to this is a hard one. The old one, right? Nice and, I mean, super brittle. You can see it's super brittle, just broke it, compared to this one. So, just after so many years of it getting, in times of getting heated up and then cooled down, it just happens. I mean, it's literally, if I can get my hand to it, that. So, put this one in, really hope it fits at this point because I just broke that one. But get this one put in. Got it all put back in. You can see where, hold on, focus, there you go. You can see where I cleaned it up there, and I cleaned up the filter and just to see, or yeah, just to see and monitor if it's still leaking or not. I took it out. I didn't see any more spraying up here where I was getting the spraying. Didn't see any more there, and or I haven't actually checked. It doesn't look like there's any more spraying from the power steering, so it's a great sign. Fix that one and the oil leak. I mean, we'll see. But it's gonna do it for this one. Catch you guys in the next.